off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit a buy, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor. Good as it gets. Bit a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host, the DFS Bachelor, and we're doing this video late Thursday night because we're going to be going over Friday's NBA slate, July 31st. It's a 6-game slate. It's our first real slate of the NBA season, and we had a 2-game slate tonight. It went pretty well besides that window licker, Marcus Morris, but he did help me win $100 on overlay DFS. Because he outscored his brother Markeith 1.25 to 0. That's why I like overlay DFS so much. So be sure to check that out. Enter promo code DFS Bachelor. Pretty exciting there, considering he cost me a takedown on both sites. Still had a good night, a profitable night. Jordan Clarkson, lots of those plays. We played MLB. Marco Gonzalez for Seattle. He was 0.95% owned, and he went off for 27, 28 points on DraftKings. So we had a good day overall. I hope you all had a great night. First things first, thank you all so much for all your support. I truly do appreciate it. The response to all the sports coming back and you guys still making me a part of your day after the long layoff is truly appreciated. So big cheers to you all. Grab some coffee and Bailey's. Thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it. It's really humbling. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that bell icon next to it so you get updates when the videos come up. I'm not sure. Sometimes people just say they miss the videos. I don't know how. I'm not, all that savvy with all of that. So if you hit that bell icon, you at least know they pop up. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. That helps me out more than you know. I appreciate you guys doing all that. The amount of likes compared and just the amount of all of you that watched it was just... it made me overwhelmingly happy. I really do appreciate it. Also, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the comment section. You qualify for our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway. I'll announce that winner Monday morning. We're doing this NBA video late tonight. There's not going to be a WNBA video tomorrow. I just don't have time. And Jewel Lloyd and Natasha Howard pissed me off where I'm just a little bit salty. I did see some of our viewers for WNBA. One of our viewers took first place in the Fanduel contest, won $3,600. So we're all doing really well. I hope you guys all jumped on that Jordan Clarkson bandwagon like I was on last night. Now, again, we're about 13 hours from tip-off. This starts at 11:30 Pacific tomorrow morning, this NBA slate. The Orlando-Brooklyn game's the first game. So I hope you all have time to digest this. So I kind of did a quick top 5, a couple positions, top 6 at each position. Listen, with this first slate... there's a lot of unknowns. I was pretty encouraged tonight by how I saw the rotation seem pretty solid, but we got some teams tomorrow like Brooklyn and Phoenix and Sacramento and Portland where things are going to be a whole lot, Memphis, where things are going to be a whole lot different. Orlando, Jonathan Isaac's coming back. There's going to be things that were a whole lot different than when we left off, and we kind of got to see how these rotations go. So I'm not playing overly heavy. I'm going to play a lot of the tickets that I've been winning in those contests. Playing other DFS stuff. So that would be my advice. I wouldn't go overly heavy tomorrow. I really wouldn't. I know it's enticing. It's our first real slate. We want to jump into it. But honestly, there's so many unknowns right now that we really need to get some more information. I'm going to do the best I can to give you the best info I can. Also, if you want access to my player pool, I'll be researching this all throughout the morning. I'm actually heading out to play an Arnold Palmer golf course tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited for that. So I'll probably be gone right before lock, but I will have my entire player pool set. You want access to the research. The hit percentage for NBA is really nice. It tells you the percentage of the time these players hit value at their price on both sites. If you want access to all the research, the DVP numbers are over here, the pace of the teams, injury status, history versus these teams, price on both sides. You can, and my player pool, you can click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, you'll get my watch players list. We'll do a sample video, sample lineup on both sites at the end of the video. I'll show you how to find my player pool when you use that link, etc. It's important that you use that link, otherwise you don't have the player pool. So, and I talked about overlay DFS. Be sure to check that out. Enter promo code DFS Bachelor, and be sure to hit them up on Twitter, hit them up on their webpage at overlaydfs.com, and ask them about their first deposit bonus. Let me get a quick drink in, and then we'll start on point guards. Now, you'll notice as I'm going through them here, I do it under the Fanduel tab. There's Draftkings over here, just because there doesn't have all the players mixed and matched, point guard, shooting guard, like Draftkings does. Everyone's at one position, so it's a little more organized. Helps my brain. I'm getting old. So there you go. So let's start at point guard. Let's start at the top. So Russell Westbrook, he's with the team. He's ready to rock and roll. He's 9-8 on Fanduel, 9-4 on Draftkings. Dallas is 9th against opposing point guards. One thing to remember, Russell Westbrook plays a lot of center for Houston. It's a small team. They don't have, PJ Tucker, I guess, will start at the quote-unquote center. But when you watch, Russell Westbrook has changed his game to fit this team where he's playing inside. He has a great history against Dallas. In his last 5 games, he only has 1 game under, or 2 games, rather, under 50. He has a 45 and a 41. So that's his floor against this team. The other 3 games, a 69, a 58, and in his most recent outing, a 61. I like Russell Westbrook quite a bit. You can see he hits value at this price on FanDuel 59% of the time, and at his price on DraftKings, he hits value 5 times value 67% of the time. I certainly like Russell Westbrook. I'm not going to Damian Lillard or De'Aaron Fox. They're both battling injuries, so I don't know how healthy they're going to be. I think they're a little too expensive, especially Damian Lillard. Under 9K, I would normally play him. He's not healthy. He's battling a knee issue, so he's a bit hobbled. Plus, they're getting Nurkic back. They're getting Zach Collins back. There's just kind of a lot of unknowns with Portland, even though I do like the paced-up nature of that game, and there are some players from that game that I do like. But I'm going to pass on the Damian Lillard aspect. Next, I like Ricky Rubio against Washington. Washington allows the 4th most fantasy points in the league to opposing point guards. In his last 4 games, 34, 31, 30, 23. You saw the second to last game before the NBA shut down, he put up a 68, so he's got big upside, 6'5 on FanDuel. Now he's 7'4 on DraftKings. I'll probably pass there, but I do like that price on FanDuel. Kemba Walker is someone we should talk about real quick. The news came out today. He's going to be limited to 18 to 20 minutes. So no thank you on that. Normally I like to play him against Milwaukee. It's a good matchup. Speaking of Milwaukee, their point guard, Eric Bledsoe, is also out for tomorrow. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor. Any news that I get throughout the day, I'll keep my phone on. I normally do not keep my phone on the golf course, but I will do it tomorrow. Any news updates that's important will be out there on the Twitter sphere. Same for, I'll do my best for WNBA. I'm fucking salty at WNBA. Fuck Jewel Lloyd, fuck Marcus Morris, and fuck Natasha Howard. In that order. In that fucking order. Now, Marcus Morris beating his brother by 1.25 points. Won me $100, and so kind of made up for that. I had a profitable night overall, so that really added to the whole thing. But overall, cost me a takedown. It did. That's just what happened. Next, Dejounte Murray. So Bryn Forbes is out tomorrow for San Antonio. Now we have to see how Popovich does this with Derek White, Dejounte Murray, and of course Patty Mills will see more minutes as well. They have not looked great in the exhibition scrimmages leading up to the restart. He's 6'2 on FanDuel, 6'1 on DraftKings. I don't love that price. You can see he doesn't have a huge hit percentage there. But what I do like is his history against the team. His last 2 games against Sacramento, a 32 and a 50. It's a paced-up game for Sacramento, slightly paced down for San Antonio. Again, no De'Aaron Fox. Well, there's going to be De'Aaron Fox, but he's battling an ankle issue, so we don't know how healthy he's going to be. So he's going to see some, backup guards. Frank Mason, I think he actually got announced out today. But Dejounte Murray, actually, who I probably like more that I'm looking at it, we'll do this in real time. Shabazz Napier is going to start in the backcourt again. Bradley Beal opted to sit out the restart, so he won't be there. I don't know why won't let me fix this right now. But I do like Shabazz Napier. He's got some upside. A 52 to 37 his last 2 games he played before the restart. Phoenix 24th against opposing point guards. It's a high-paced game. Washington Phoenix could be a whole lot of fantasy goodness. Chris Chiozza. Now, on FanDuel, he's 5,600. They can totally fuck off. That's not going to happen. But he's 3-9 on DraftKings. He's going to be the starting point guard for Brooklyn. Spencer Dinwiddie, not with the team for the restart. So it's going to be Chris Chiozza, Tyler Johnson, and Karis LeVert in that backcourt. You're going to see some Garrett Temple as well. Jamal Crawford is not playing tomorrow. He's still getting into shape. I mean, this Brooklyn Nets roster is absolute garbage. Orlando could beat the brakes off of them. But I do like Chiozza on FanDuel at 5,600. He's got some upside. You could see 4 of his last 5 games before it all ended, he was over 20. Now he's going to be the starting point guard without Spencer Dinwiddie. I think Chris Chiozza is a very solid play. I don't mind Derek White either. DeAnthony Melton without Tyus Jones, I think, is a solid play. He's sitting there at 4.8 on FanDuel, 4.7 on DraftKings. He's got 35-point upside. I don't mind that either. For some value guys, Tyler Johnson, 4.1 on FanDuel, 3,200 on DraftKings. He's going to see plenty of minutes. Tyler Johnson is a lock for me on DraftKings, especially in cash games. Orlando 21st against opposing point guards. I like shooting guards. I think Tyler Johnson's considered a shooting guard and Chiozza a point guard, but I do like Tyler Johnson off the bench quite a bit tomorrow. And then George Hill. No Eric Bledsoe, so George Hill will most likely see the start. Could see Dante DiVincenzo, but I think it'll be George Hill. He's 3-8 on both sides. Boston very good defensively. Obviously, Marcus Smart defense is no joke. You can see his last 5 games against Boston, only 1 game under 20. The rest of them, a 30, a 27, a 23, and a 20. I like George Hill quite a bit. Patty Mills is another guy down here at 35 on both sides. I don't mind that. You'll probably see some minutes for Jerome Robinson in Washington without Bradley Beal. So he could be another sneaky guy. He's 3-5 on FanDuel. Now he's up at 4-2 on DraftKings. Could be a very interesting minimum salary guy. A player like Trey Burke could see some minutes for Dallas as well. Again, a lot of unknowns, so I'm just kind of throwing some of those guys out there. Jerome Robinson's very interesting minimum salary at 3-5 on FanDuel. I think that is interesting. Let's go to shooting guard. So, at shooting guard, I think it's kind of funny they put Luka at shooting guard. He's a fucking point guard. Like, what is FanDuel doing? Whatever. He's 10-8 on FanDuel, 10-5 on DraftKings. Houston 15th against opposing point guard shooting guards. His last 2 games against Houston, a 60 and a 66. He's healthy. He's ready to rock. Dallas needs to win. Dallas is going to be a very interesting team in the playoffs. I like Luka Doncic quite a bit. That's weird. My screen changed while we were doing this. I don't know if I'm just tripping or whatever. Let's have a drink on that. Let's have a drink to possible acid flashbacks. You know, I did some shit when I was in high school. I don't know. James Harden, of course. He's in play every single slate. His last time out against Dallas, he put up a 72. He's looked pretty sharp. Houston hasn't looked terrible. I mean, all the games are sloppy. You saw the 2 games tonight. Very sloppy. Lots of turnovers, etc. James Harden, 10-6 on FanDuel, so he's a little cheaper on FanDuel, but he's $500 more expensive on DraftKings at $11K. Dallas 9th against shooting guards, point guards. Of course, James Harden has that upside. I can certainly go to James Harden. I'm just gonna shrink this one more and hope I can see those numbers. Man, it's tough to see those. I don't understand what happened right there. Something changed in the middle of this where I lost some of my screen. Karis LeVert's going to be interesting. He's going to be the guy for Brooklyn. Now, I think he's a little overpriced, but he certainly has 50-point upside. I like talented scoring guards against Orlando. They're 21st against opposing shooting guards. You could see his last 5 games before the break. He was starting to come into his own. He has a 63, a 53, and a 44. Also a 31 and a 39 mixed in there. He's going to be the man for Orlando. He's the best player left with that team. So you certainly got to consider Karis LeVert. DeMar DeRozan's looked fucking terrible. Devin Booker, you got to wonder how much Phoenix is going to play him. They definitely need to start winning if they want to make the postseason. Now, he's got a nice history. His last 3 against Washington, 61, 69, and a 44. He hits value 60% of the time at 8K on FanDuel and hits it 54% of the time at 88 on DraftKings. Washington, 24th against opposing shooting guards. I don't mind that. Either CJ McCollum. First of all, CJ McCollum loves playing against Memphis. He's had 1 dud in his last 10 games. That was in 18, 3 games ago. But he's got a 51, a 34, a 36. Again, Damian Lillard is not 100%. No matter what report you see. Damian Lillard is not 100%. He's 7-4 and 7-5. Paced up game for Portland. Memphis is one of the faster teams in the leagues. Portland is not far behind them. I think CJ McCollum's a very solid play. Next, without Eric Bledsoe, I like Chris Middleton a bunch. I think he's underpriced. 7-1 on Fanduel, 7-5 on DraftKings. His last 3 games against Boston, 37, 37, and a 40. Both he and Giannis are going to see increased usage rates without Eric Bledsoe there. I like Chris Middleton quite a bit. Down here for some value plays. Garrett Temple I don't think is terrible. I got to change his projection. Dante DiVincenzo at 4-9 on DraftKings should see extra minutes. He's going to see 25 to 30 minutes. You can see he was playing really well before the league stopped. Remember, Giannis was limited and not playing some of those games because of that knee issue. So it's important to keep in mind when you look at what he was doing leading up to the league stopping. 36, 28, 42, and 25. His last time out against Boston, he put up a 30. I think he's fine. Dylan Brooks, wide range of outcomes, but he's got that scoring upside. Portland, again, with a hobble Damian Lillard, may not be as great defensively in the backcourt, so I could certainly go there. Ben McLemore, without Eric Gordon, should see some extra minutes. I certainly don't mind that at all. He's at 36 on FanDuel, 31 on DraftKings. Anyone else stand out? Justin Anderson, he could actually fucking start for this team. I'm not even joking. Like, Justin Anderson could possibly start for Brooklyn. I wish I could. The good news is it's the first game on the slate. FanDuel has finally listened to the masses and is offering late swap for these contests. He's 3-5 and 3-1. So if he's in the starting lineup, I'll have some exposure to that. We just have to wait and see. Again, you can follow me on Twitter for all of that. And I think that's it for me at shooting guard. Let's go to small forward. So you got Giannis at the top. Giannis, even though Boston's a good defensive team, he plays really well against Boston. Nothing less than a 50 in his last 5. Now you just have to wonder how Milwaukee is going to handle this. Seeding doesn't really matter anymore unless you're like in that middle of the West where you're trying to avoid playing Houston or possibly the Thunder, etc. in the first round. Milwaukee's basically got the number 1 seed locked up. You're not worried about the 7 or the 8 seed in the East, obviously. It's, a terrible conference. But Giannis, if they let him go out there and go full bore, which LeBron and AD did tonight, nothing less than a 50. He's got 3 games of 65 and above. He's 10-7 on FanDuel, 10-5 on DraftKings. Certainly like Giannis. You can see at that price on FanDuel this year, he's hit 5 times value 78% of the time. And on DraftKings at 10-5, he's hit value 84% of the time. You can see that here on Draft Dashboard. Very, very unique. Again, click that link. Try it for 30 days for $1. You'll get my player pool too. Really like that. Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown, I like them both, especially with a limited Kemba Walker. Now you got Gordon Hayward at 6'6 FanDuel, 6'8 DraftKings. Then you've got Jaylen Brown at 5'8 on FanDuel, but then he's all the way up at 6'9 on DraftKings. I like Jaylen Brown a ton on FanDuel. That is so weird. Why does the dot keep moving over? I'm so confused by that. It's super interesting. Next for me, I don't mind Joe Harris. He should see plenty of minutes. Harrison Barnes, 4-8 on FanDuel, 5K on DraftKings. Spurs 25th against opposing small forwards. The Spurs look terrible defensively, especially in the front court. Harrison Barnes, I normally don't like to play him, but when he's under 5K, I'm on board. You can see his last 2 games against the Spurs, a 37 and a 38. He's going to be consistently in that mid-20s to low 30s. If he gets up to 37 and 38 like he's done the last 2 times against the Spurs, sign me up for that. I like Harrison Barnes' price quite a bit. Troy Brown has looked really good in these exhibition matchups. Cam Johnson should see minutes for Phoenix. They're going to play their young players. But one guy I do like should be back in the starting lineup for Memphis. Kyle Anderson, 4-2 on FanDuel, 4-3 on DraftKings. I could get down with that. Portland 12th against opposing small forwards. But let's get down to Danuel House. So Eric Gordon is out. He hurt himself in that last scrimmage. Not serious. It looks like he'll be back sometime in the near future. But Danuel House will probably start, put up a 30 and a 21 in his last 2 games against Dallas. He's 4K and 3-8. I think Danuel House is a really nice value play. A guy like Isaac Bonga could start. I don't know how many minutes he'll play. Jonathan Isaac is back for Orlando. I highly anticipate them easing him back in, title of the sex tape, but he's minimum salary on FanDuel. He's all the way up at 5.8 on DraftKings. It's the biggest differential of price on the two sites, from 3.5 to 5.8. So I think, even if he comes out and only plays 15 to 20 minutes, he could still get you 20 fantasy points. At 3.5, you'll take that. I think he's an interesting FanDuel play for Orlando. Let's go to power forwards. So I like Kristaps Porzingis a lot. Again, it's just about how much are they going to let him play. Houston has nobody who can physically match up with him. They don't have anyone on their team taller than like 6'7" or some shit like that. Porzingis, Houston's 21st against opposing power forwards. His last two games this season against Houston, a 51 and a 54. They have nobody who can deal with him. He should get every fucking rebound. I like Kristaps Porzingis quite a bit. Next, Robert Covington. Aaron Gordon's questionable, by the way. I think he'll play. I don't mind him against Brooklyn. You worry about the blowout because Brooklyn's going to they just have such a limited roster. Robert Covington, 5'8" on FanDuel, 6'1" on DraftKings. Again, no Eric Gordon, so he'll get a little bit extra usage there. I mean, it's all going to be Westbrook and Harden, but he's played really, really well since being traded over from Minnesota to Houston. His last two games against Dallas, a 43 and a 34. You can see his last 5 games before the league stopped. He had 2 games which he smashed with a 38 and a 48, and the other games right there in the mid to high 20s. I don't mind him at all. Rui Hachimura, he has been the best wizard in the restart. In those exhibition matchups, he has looked really well. He is 5'6" on FanDuel. Now he's up there at like 7'3" or 7'4" on DraftKings. That's fucking stupid. Do not do that. But 5'6" on FanDuel, no Davis Bertans. I like Rui Hachimura quite a bit on FanDuel. Jaren Jackson Jr., if you remember, he was hurt and was out. Well, now he's healthy. No team in the league has given up more points to opposing power forwards than the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, they're going to be different up front. Nurk is back. He's going to be playing. So they have Nurk, they have Whiteside, Zach Collins is back. So they're certainly going to be deeper up front. There you go. That's what she said. But nonetheless, Jaren Jackson Jr., 50-point upside. Put up a 25 his last time out against Portland. His other two, a 33 and a 31. He's 4.7 on FanDuel, 4.9 on DraftKings. I like Jaren Jackson Jr. quite a bit. And his backup counterpart, Brandon Clark, is also back. Remember, he was injured as well. He put up a 45 his last game out against Portland. He's 4.6 and 4.1. I think they are both in play. But when it comes to FanDuel, no Alex Len tomorrow. So Sacramento's going to be a little bit thin up front. Bielitsa and Jabari Parker should see plenty of minutes. Bielitsa is 4.5 on FanDuel, 5.3 on DraftKings. The Spurs 22nd against small forwards, power forwards. I like Bielitsa's price a ton on FanDuel at 4.5. He's going to start. He'll see 25 to 32, 33 minutes. I like Bielitsa quite a bit. That price on FanDuel is too hard to pass up. His last time out against the Spurs, he put up a 35. The time before that, a 24. You see he hits value 61% of the time at that price on FanDuel, 53% of the time at that price on DraftKings. You see Brandon Clark smashes even more, 62 and 71. Jaren Jackson, 76 and 74%. Come on, there's some value there. Rodions Kurukas, he should play. Probably not going there. The biggest lock on FanDuel, this isn't even close. Rashawn Holmes, Mr. getting food outside the bubble and having to be quarantined himself. But he's going to be their starting center. This dude has legit 50-point upside. You could see his very last game that he played against the Spurs, he put up a 52. He's 3.9 on FanDuel. That is crazy. Again, no Alex Len. He's 5.1 on DraftKings. I still like the price on DraftKings. And he's 3.9 on FanDuel. Sign me up for Rashawn Holmes. I expect him to be very highly owned. If anyone's fucking paying attention, Rashawn Holmes at 3.9 is a fucking steal. No matter what, sign me up. San Antonio, super thin up front. No LaMarcus Aldridge, etc. Love that price on FanDuel. I also don't mind the price for Jabari Parker. He's $3K on DraftKings. Jabari Parker's going to see 15 to 20 minutes tomorrow without Alex Len. I don't mind Jabari Parker either. I think that's it for me at power forward. Let's go to center. Probably talking about a lot more players than I meant to. So you got Whiteside and Nurk above 7K. Both of them, they're going to be kind of splitting minutes. You cannot play either one of them. You just can't. You're getting 24 minutes each. I guess if you're making 150 lineups and you want to throw one of them in to be cute, I think you're wasting your fucking money. No, thank you. The best center on the slate tomorrow, it's not even close. Nikolai Vucevic against Brooklyn. We have been saying this now. This is what, your third year watching this show? Center versus Brooklyn, centers versus Brooklyn, centers versus Brooklyn. Brooklyn's allowing the second most points to opposing centers leading up to this year. DeAndre Jordan is not going to be a part of this team. Their biggest player, they got that rookie Dante Hall, who's like 6'9", and they have Jared Allen, who can't help but get in foul trouble. Vooch should absolutely eat. The biggest concern here playing him is whether they blow them out. I love Vooch. He's 8-3 on Fanduel, 8-5 on DraftKings, 48, 59, 54, 44, 39 in his last 5 games against Brooklyn. They have absolutely nobody who can deal with his size. I mean, isn't that what everyone wants to hear, right? Just lie to me and tell me that. I like Vucevic quite a bit. Next, DeAndre Ayton. Remember, he was hurt before the league stopped. Washington allows the 4th most fantasy points to opposing centers. He's 7-6 on FanDuel, 7-9 on DraftKings, 51 and a 32 in his last 2 games against Washington. I love DeAndre Ayton as well. Brook Lopez at 5K. Look, just extra usage on Brook Lopez. Boston is not the biggest team, though. They're going to have Enes Kanter and Tice. Brad Stevens doesn't seem to want to play Enes Kanter that many minutes. Now, for some reason, he's announced in the starting lineup, I'll play Enes Kanter, no doubt about it. But there's not a whole bunch down here for value. There's one other guy I can't wait to get, or 2 other guys that I can't wait to get to. But Brook Lopez has that 40-point upside. You could see in the last 4 games before the league stopped, he had a 30 in 2 of them and then a 19 in the other 2. Pretty similar in his last 5 against Boston, including a 33 in his last game. 5K and 4.8 on DraftKings. I can go to Brook Lopez. Jacob Podol, whatever you want to say. No LaMarcus Aldridge. Really no front court depth whatsoever for San Antonio. He played 23 minutes in the last exhibition scrimmage game. Now again, Sacramento 7th against opposing centers, but I like Jacob Podol quite a bit. 27 and a 15. He's 4-2 FanDuel, 4-7 DraftKings. I could certainly go there. PJ Tucker's going to get all the minutes he can handle. But as usual with PJ Tucker, and Dallas is, 24th against opposing centers. They're not great defensively against centers. Dwight Powell, Porzingis, Maxi Kleber. PJ Tucker's 3-9 on FanDuel, 4-2 on DraftKings. You know the deal. He's going to be on the court for 35 plus fucking minutes. The question is, does he do anything with it? We saw his last 5 games before the restart. His most recent game, he put up a 30. Then there was a bunch of, games in the teens. Against Dallas, 3 of his last 5 have been 21 or above, including a 34 and a couple of 15. So he's a tournament play. He's not a super safe play, but if he gets you 30 at 3,900, you're getting, 9X. You'll be kicking yourself if you don't go there. Thomas Bryant is back for Washington. Mo Wagner could be interesting without Davis Bertans there. He could be one of those stretch 4, stretch 5 guys off the bench. He's got a decent amount of upside if you want to play him in tournaments. But for me, that's about it. So that's my early look at tomorrow's NBA slate. Again, my player pool will grow throughout the day. I'm a grower, not a shower after all. That's a fact. Cheers to that. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's just, you got to make sure it's at a certain point before you show it to anybody. It's fine. But if you want access to all this research, the usage, all that, my player pool using the lineup optimizer, the mass lineup generator, etc., you can click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you would find my watched players, you would simply click on your own watched players tab, the players that you're clicking on that you're interested in playing tomorrow. And when you do that, you'll see a blue box at the top that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks. And you'll also see a timestamp when I last updated it. So, let's say a guy like DeAndre Ayton gets ruled out, but I still have him in my player pool. You'll be able to look, oh, okay, he hasn't updated his player pool yet. I try to update it as much as humanly possible to keep it as up to date as possible. So click that link. You can try it there. Then you can go to we'll do a lineup. We'll just do a quick sample lineup. Again, we are 13 hours away at the time of this recording right now from tip-off, so a lot can change. So I'm not saying lock these in. No, we have had a couple of these lineups win first, which is fucking crazy. I always love when that happens, and I'm also pissed because I almost never just play them. So let's look here at FanDuel. We got George Hill, Ricky Rubio, McCollum, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Robert Covington, Nemanja Bjelica, and Vooch. I like that lineup. That's a lineup I could play. On FanDuel, it leaves 100 salary. Again, if you're playing cash games, you can do cash game optimizer. That'll optimize cash game lineups using as much salary as possible, etc. Let's go over to DraftKings. I love that FanDuel lineup. That's a nice lineup. Let's go to DraftKings. So in DraftKings, it gave us Rubio, Jaylen Brown, Barnes, Bjelica, Rashawn Holmes, CJ McCollum, Jaren Jackson, Chris Middleton. Probably do some change. I think Jaylen Brown. I think both Jaylen Brown and Rubio are too expensive. I like Michael Bridges quite a bit for Phoenix. I didn't even talk about him. Again, Phoenix doesn't have Kelly Oubre, so I like Michael Bridges quite a bit. Could almost get up here. Should we get a James Harden lineup in? Let's make a James Harden lineup. We'll make it from the drop-down arrows here. So let's see. Barnes, but that's a lot of Sacramento front court. A whole bunch. So let's go and get some. Maybe we can get some value here. Daniel House at 3.8. What do we need to save here? 400. So let's just come down off of CJ McCollum, shall we? Jaylen Brown's expensive. Ja Morant at 7K. That's possible. Shabazz Napier, who I don't mind. There's quite a few good options. Dante DiVincenzo, I think, is cheap here on DraftKings at 4.9. Now we've got some salary we can play with, so we can upgrade, like a Harrison Barnes. Like, get the fuck out of our life, Harrison Barnes. Go to a Gordon Hayward. I don't mind something like that. Harden, Bridges, Hayward, House, Holmes, DiVincenzo, Jaren Jackson, Chris Middleton. Again, click the link. Try it for 30 days for $1. Get exposure to my player pool. Also for MLB. My MLB player pool is up, and it's always updated as well. NHL, NFL. Be sure to check out Overlay DFS. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I truly appreciate all your guys' support. May the fantasy gods be with you all. I am going to have an MLB video up early in the morning before I go out there and destroy that golf course. By destroy, I mean play terribly and leave divots everywhere and everything else. Big cheers to you all. Hope you all had a great first night. Sports are back. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, folks.